up on News 2, the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority claims the Public Services Commission has released a misleading report, but the PSC says WAPA has been lying to its consumers. A police officer has been arrested and charged with domestic violence after reports indicate he pushed and struck the mother of his child, causing her injuries. Plus an update from the Wappa Hospital after the resignation of the CEO, Jeff Nelson. What happens next? Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gomansing. The Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority claims the Public Services Commission has released a misleading report, but the PSC says WAPA has been lying to its consumers. Who's telling the truth? News 2's Erica Bivens brings you the details on that report.
On Tuesday, the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority issued a press release with their response to a December report by the Public Service Commission's consulting firm. In that response, it states, information presented in the GCG report is grossly misleading, incorrect, and counterproductive. On December 15th, the PSC's consultant, GCG, or Georgetown Consulting Group, released a report on WAPA regarding the territory's soaring electricity cost, stating WAPA's information is inaccurate at best and misleading at worst. It cites several examples like poor plant efficiency continues to be a major factor in the high LEAC that WAPA charges consumers, as well as WAPA has failed to meet its own quarterly efficiency projections in all of its LEAC filings during the last 3 years. Based on their findings regarding changes in the LEAC, they stated all changes should be spelled out in detail with appropriate supporting schedules and analysis. WAPA is now petitioning the PSC to reconsider that December order, which imposes new reporting requirements. In their petition, they fire back at GCG's report, saying it misstates the reasons for the increase in the LEAC rate. And further, there was also no opportunity for the authority to digest the contents of the 48-page document and provide the authority's response to the GCG report. WAPA also states the new reporting requirements will lead to unnecessary delays in considering the LEAC, which is likely to be harmful to the authority's customers. So who's telling the truth? WAPA officials didn't want to comment on this issue until the parties could meet and discuss the contents in the report. However, the PSC released this statement.
The Commission will, as required by law, consider WAPA's petition for reconsideration within the 30 days provided by law.
For News 2, I'm Erica Bivens.
Now, no meeting date between the parties was given, but in the meantime, you can view a copy of the report by visiting the website psc.gov.vi. The Wappa Hospital and Medical Center has a new leader at its helm. Jeff Nelson resigned as the Chief Executive Officer Friday, and during an emergency meeting Saturday, the hospital's board voted in favor of appointing Dr. Kendall Griffith as the interim CEO. Board Chair Key Walker made it clear that with the hospital facing certain crises, there's no time for discussion. News 2's Erica Parsons has more.
Dr. Griffith will serve as interim CEO of JFL.
Dr. Kendall Griffith has taken the reins at the Wappa Hospital and Medical Center after the hospital's board voted 4-1 to appoint him as interim chief executive officer. The decision came on the heels of former CEO Jeff Nelson's departure from the hospital. Nelson tendered his resignation Friday, giving 45 days notice, but according to his letter, Board Chair Key Walker requested Nelson leave his position immediately. We tried to speak with Dr. Griffith today, but hospital officials advised that they would be in meetings all day trying to work on the issues they need to address for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, or CMS. CMS was in the territory last week investigating a complaint they received about the hospital. During Saturday's meeting, board officials said CMS informed them during the exit interview that Wappa Hospital has not yet reached substantial compliance with the terms of their settlement agreement. It's for that reason that Board Chair Walker told board members, hospital staff, and members of the public that there wouldn't be room for discussion about Griffith's appointment.
We don't have the luxury of entertaining a transition period. We are not entertaining any nonsense about who can work with who and who can't work with who. Everyone has to get together and work as a team. CMS is holding the board accountable. The board is holding itself accountable. We have held Jeff Nelson accountable, and we are not afraid to hold anyone else accountable. Everyone has to pull together and get the work done for the community. It's not about anyone's individual personality.
Walker did credit Nelson with helping improve the hospital's finances. She said under his leadership, the hospital's revenues increased and revenue collections improved. Erica Parsons, News 2.
With Dr. Griffith in place, the hospital meets CMS's request to have someone clinical in leadership. Tune in to News 2 later this week when we speak with Dr. Griffith about his goals for the St. Croix Hospital. Well, did you receive yours? Claudette Watson-Anderson, the director of the Virgin Islands Bureau of Internal Revenue, reminds all VI employers that they are required to submit Form W-2 VI, which is the U.S. Virgin Islands wage and tax statement for employment in 2012, to every employee by January 31st, 2013. Failure to provide this form is subject to a civil penalty of $50. However, in certain cases, you may face criminal penalties. She says Form W-2, which is used for employment for the continental United States, cannot be used for VI employment. You can call the office's chief counsel for more information at 714-9312 or 715-1040, extension 2249. Delegate Donna Christensen wants to ensure everyone is aware of what's on her agenda for the 113th Congress and wants to get your input. Her focus for her 9th term will be on energy, economic development, healthcare, crime, and education. She's in the process of holding town hall meetings across the territory during the congressional district work period. On Tuesday, a meeting was held on St. John and then on St. Thomas. This evening from 6 to 8 p.m. at the American Legion Hall in Subbase. Then the final meeting will be held on St. Croix on Thursday at the Curriculum Center, and that's from 6 to 8 p.m. A police officer has been charged with aggravated assault and battery, domestic violence. Police say 24-year-old Travis Wyatt, who is an officer in the St. Thomas St. John district, was arrested after he pushed and struck the mother of his child Monday. She sustained injuries, and Wyatt was arrested the same night and held without bail pending his advice of rights hearing. He was released on his own recognizance by the presiding judge at that hearing. Officials say Wyatt is on leave from the force with pay pending further investigation. St. Thomas police are investigating a non-fatal stabbing that occurred at the Alva Swan Bureau of Corrections Annex in Subbase. According to police reports, 2 male inmates were involved in a physical altercation which resulted in both males being stabbed several times. The inmates, identified as Michael Lewis and Edgardo Ortiz, were both taken to the Royal Schneider Hospital for treatment. Lewis was stabbed on the right side of his back and left thumb, and Ortiz was stabbed in the chest and abdomen. Both say they do not know who stabbed them and have been charged with first-degree assault. Senators jumped into the debate over how to stop gun violence with a top NRA official and the husband of former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. Giffords opened the hearing, telling lawmakers they must do something now. Danielle Nottingham has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords arrived as an unscheduled witness to the first Senate hearing on gun violence since the mass shooting at a Connecticut elementary school.
The time is now. You must act.
Giffords was nearly killed in a Tucson shooting in 2011 and came to Capitol Hill with her husband, retired astronaut Mark Kelly, to push for tighter gun restrictions. Members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are discussing an assault weapons ban and strengthening background checks.
When I bought firearms in Vermont, I go through the background check. I would expect everybody else to.
NRA Executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre is representing the powerful gun lobby at the hearing.
Let's be honest. Background checks will never be universal because criminals will never submit to them.
While gun control is getting new attention here on Capitol Hill, getting laws passed is an uphill battle. Republicans as well as many Democrats are strong supporters of gun rights.
The 1994 assault weapon ban did not stop Columbine. The Justice Department found the ban ineffective.
Senator Dianne Feinstein has already introduced a new assault weapons ban. Senator Chuck Schumer is behind Feinstein's bill, but he is not optimistic it will pass.
But I think we're going to give it the old college try, because you cannot have month after month after month these kinds of shootings.
More than 200 people packed the room for today's Senate hearing. Danielle Nottingham, News 2.
And keeping our eye on the economy, Toyota has announced a pair of recalls involving more than 1 million vehicles. In the first recall, about 750,000 Corollas and Corolla Matrix small crossovers from the 2003 and 2004 model years are being recalled for faulty airbags. Toyota says an airbag could deploy unexpectedly. The second recall involves 270,000 Lexus and sedans from 2006 to 2012 model years to check for wipers that could fail. This is the New York Stock Exchange, Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. Everything down. The Dow 44, Nasdaq 11, S&P 5. Well, coming up on News 2, the Christensen Boardwalk went to the dogs on Saturday afternoon for the 7th annual Crew de Barcus Dog Parade. This year's theme was Hooray for Hollywood, and the dogs let themselves out so they can show off their own unique style. We'll be right back. Have been selected to be pilot project sites for the territory's street addressing program, according to the Office of Lieutenant Governor, and meetings began Wednesday to get public input. St. John residents met Wednesday afternoon, while St. Thomas residents are currently discussing the project at Charlotte Amalie High School until 9 p.m. on St. Croix. The meetings will take place Thursday at John H. Woodson at 7 p.m. The areas include Cruz Bay and parts of Content for St. John, on St. Thomas, downtown Charlotte Amalie, some of Hospital Ground and Kings Quarter, and on St. Croix. Montbijou will be the first to get addresses. The preservation of Virgin Islands and Caribbean culture was the focus today at the University of the Virgin Islands Albert Sheen campus, as residents and campus officials met to officially launch the Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center on St. Croix, giving students and residents a place to explore their Caribbean culture. News2's Janisha Jan brings us more from the center's launch.
It was a celebration of culture and history as dozens came out to the University of the Virgin Islands Albert Sheen campus to witness the launch of what they've nicknamed VICCC, the Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center.
The Virgin Islands Caribbean Cultural Center, VICCC, is really designed within the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences here at the University of the Virgin Islands so that we can actually deal with research, we can deal with nurturing, the education, as well as the upliftment and the other components that integrate culture into all spheres of the community. So it's very beneficial to St. Croix.
An amazing accomplishment because we've been able to do it in just over a year. And it really represents an opportunity for the Virgin Islands to institutionalize some work that we've been doing before, but to do it on a grander scale.
The launch of VICCC's new center will allow for the exploration and preservation of Caribbean culture, giving students and residents on St. Croix the opportunity to experience and learn from it.
The culture of the Virgin Islands and of the Caribbean in general is just so rich, and we must do whatever we can to preserve it, to disseminate it, to get more of our faculty and students researching it and compiling it. And the center will contribute to that. And I'm also excited that it's on St. Croix. That is a strategic move on our part, and I think that will really serve as a boost to this campus and hopefully to all of St. Croix.
Residents gathered on St. Croix to discuss the center's first publication and to have a roundtable discussion to start developing the center, while working towards ultimately influencing the world with Caribbean culture.
It gives the university an opportunity to not only give back, but to be engaged in collaborations, in cooperative engagements and various agreements, to be able to integrate our skills, talents, and expertise in a way that is very beneficial for the University of the Virgin Islands community, the Caribbean, and of course, having a very positive impact on the rest of the world.
Janisha John, News 2.
The VI Caribbean Cultural Center will temporarily be housed at the Research and Technology Park on the Albert Sheen campus, but will move to a larger space once the park's new facility is completed. Well, the Christensen Boardwalk went to the dogs on Saturday afternoon for the 7th annual Crew de Barcus Dog Parade. This year's theme was Hooray for Hollywood. And our four-legged friends came dressed to impress. There were 50 contestants, 35 adults and 15 children. Costumes included the Wizard of Oz, the birds, and this year's winner, Ziegfeld Follies. The parade raises funds for the Mardi Gras Parade and the Sugar Mill Veterinary Center. A howling good time was had by one and all. Congratulations to the little pups. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.